Today is Monday, August 17th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on More About Alcoholism, page 36. We're a little ahead of the game on the 12 and 12, so we will skip that today. But we will read the NA just for today and the Al-Anon's Courage to Change. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. It's the start of a new week. It's nice to kind of set the tone and honestly, just living one day at a time. It's a wonderful existence. Just got to worry about this set of 24 hours. And it's almost 4 in the morning where I'm at as I'm recording this. So I've only got 20 hours to go to try to work this program to the best of my ability. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading in More About Alcoholism, now we're starting to get some examples of people who demonstrate this the mental state that precedes a relapse into drinking. So our good old buddy Jim, we've met up with him, we told him of what we knew about alcoholism, the answer we found. He made a beginning. His family was reassembled. And then it says he knew he faced another trip to the asylum if he kept on. Moreover, he'd lose his family for whom he had a deep affection. So the poor guy, he's relapsed once again. And now the crew that is working with him are asking him, okay, take us through it step by step. What happened? And hopefully you'll get to figure it out where the mental obsession started to kick in. The insanity, right? So we're on page 36. Yet he got drunk again. We asked him to tell us exactly how it happened. This is the story. I came to work on Tuesday morning. I remember I felt irritated that I had to be a salesman for a concern I once owned. I had a few words with the boss, but nothing serious. Then I decided to drive into the country and see one of my prospects for a car. On the way, I felt hungry, so I stopped at a roadside place where they have a bar. I had no intention of drinking. I just thought I'd get a sandwich. I also had the notion that I might find a customer for a car at this place, which was familiar, for I'd been going to it for years. I had eaten there many times during the months that I was sober. I sat down at a table and ordered a sandwich and a glass of milk. Still no thought of drinking. I ordered another sandwich and decided to have another glass of milk. Suddenly, the thought crossed my mind that if I were to put just an ounce of whiskey in my milk, it couldn't hurt me on a full stomach. I ordered a whiskey and poured it into the milk. I vaguely sensed that I was not being too smart, but I felt reassured as I was taking the whiskey on a full stomach. The experiment went so well that I ordered another whiskey and poured it into more milk. That didn't seem to bother me, so I tried another. Thus started one more journey to the asylum for Jim. Here was a thread of commitment, the loss of family and position, to say nothing of that intense mental and physical suffering which drinking always caused him. He had much knowledge about himself as an alcoholic, yet all the reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea that he could take whiskey if only he mixed it with milk. NA's just for today, August 17th. Tell the truth. A symptom of our disease is alienation, and honest sharing will free us to recover. Basic text, page 83. Truth connects us to a life while fear, isolation, and dishonesty alienate us from it. As using addicts, we hid as much of the truth about ourselves from as much of the world as we possibly could. Our fear kept us from opening ourselves up to those around us, providing protection against what others might do if we appeared vulnerable. But our fear also kept us from connecting with our world. We lived like alien beings on our own planet, always alone, and getting lonelier by the minute. The 12 Steps in the Fellowship of Recovering Addicts gives people like us a place where we can feel safe telling the truth about ourselves. We are able to honestly admit our frustrating, humbling powerlessness over addiction because we meet many others who've been in the same situation. We're safe among them. And we keep on telling more of the truth about ourselves as we continue to work the steps. The more we do, the more truly connected we feel to the world around us. Today, we need not hide from the reality of our relations with people, places, and things in our lives. We accept those relations just as they are, and we own our part in them. We take time every day to ask, am I telling the truth about myself? Each time we do this, we draw much further away from the alienation that characterizes our addiction, and that much closer to the freedom recovery can bring us. Just for today, truth is my connection to reality. Today, I will take time to ask myself, am I telling the truth? Al-Anon's Courage to Change, August 17th. Some of us believe that most defects of character are merely traits that we no longer need. Many of us develop clever methods of surviving in an alcoholic situation, such as denial or secrecy. But once we have the support of the Al-Anon program, we may find that our old methods do more harm than good. What once allowed us to function in a nearly impossible situation is now an obstacle to further growth. An asset has become a deficit. Others define defects of character as assets that have lost proportion. For example, a genuine desire to help a loved one can be exaggerated into a desperate need to fix another person. From this perspective, we aren't facing the daunting task of rooting out every shred of the defect. We're only turning it over to our higher power, so that it can be brought into balance or dropped because it is no longer serving our needs. Today's reminder: instead of condemning myself when I become aware of a defect of character, I can acknowledge my growth. I've recognized that a characteristic that once allowed me to survive is no longer necessary, or that an asset that has lost its proportion makes my life unmanageable. Instead of providing sickness, this shows a willingness to face reality and a readiness to choose health. Sometimes we must accept ourselves, defects and all, before those defects are removed. Quote from In All Our Affairs. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and some beautiful stuff as always. I love that the last part of the Al-Anon reading, accepting ourselves, defects and all, before we can actually have these defects removed, right? Acknowledging that, okay, this is a problem, or this is getting in the way of my spiritual growth, and then handing that over to my higher power. And for me, it's daily, because I can still get selfish and self-centered. I can still choose to have my feelings be hurt, and when I analyze why, it's because my pride was affected, or I'm jealous, or, these things are still part of me. And these are things that I can still wrestle with. But the nice thing is that the progress of it all is I catch it faster than I used to. And I go, oh, dude, you did that for yourself. Or, oh, dude, you're being too sensitive here. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Assume the best, right? Or, dude, why does that bother you in the first place? What's going on there? Oh, you got pride. I will say this, just like the promises, some have gone away quicker than others. And some, it's a daily process. For example, like I no longer obsess over the drink like I used to. But I can still be prideful. I could still get in my head and think I don't fit in. That happens daily sometimes, and I have to turn that over to my higher power. So I can relate to the promise and say sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. But regardless, I still feel like my higher power is helping me to move forward. And then going back to the big book real quick, talking about poor Jim. There's a great breakdown Joe and Charlie do in the Joe and Charlie tapes about this insanity that starts to kick in, right? And you can see it right on page 36. Of course, it's in squigglies. The moment that he's talking himself into the drink, suddenly the thought crossed my mind that if I were to put just an ounce of whiskey in my milk, it couldn't hurt me on a full stomach. Now, to put this into context, Jim has had so many relapses that he's lost his job, the business that he once owned. He's afraid of losing his family. I mean, his life is becoming unmanageable. And yet, here's the insanity, right? Suddenly, so this thought came out of nowhere. It didn't sound like it was premeditated. But out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? I could go for a drink. I've got a full stomach. I should be fine. There's that rationalization that I have used many times. Like, hey, I'll just have one. It's not a big deal. I'll be fine. I got a full stomach anyway. What's the harm? And then there was a little sense of, oh man, maybe I'm not doing the right thing here. It says, I vaguely sensed that I was not being any too smart, but felt reassured as I was taking the whiskey on a full stomach. And then a little further down, this describes me too. He had much knowledge about himself as an alcoholic. So that self-knowledge, that helped. Yet, all the reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea that he could take whiskey if only he mixed it with milk. So for Jim, self-knowledge was not enough. And then the next line, I'll spoil it for you. Whatever the precise definition of the word may be, we call this plain insanity. How many times had I talked myself into a drink? So many. So all I can say is I am so grateful to be sober today. So grateful for the steps that forced me to be humble and to turn my will and my life over to the care of my higher power. I'm grateful for the inventory and the people I was able to share my inventory with that offered perspective and grace. I'm so thankful for my higher power taking these defects and replacing them with assets, things that can help. And honestly, these defects in a way are assets because I can share my defects with another human being, just like others have done for me, to remind me that I'm not alone. Then I can give these defects to my higher power, make those amends, direct or indirect, and continue to do this, continue to pray, and continue to try to be of service. It's a beautiful thing. It really has helped me so much, this program and this fellowship. And I'm so grateful this morning. But my friends, that's all we have time for today. I hope you all have a great one. Please know, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I'm just a joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery, honored to be here another day. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.